It's a heartbreaker for the Orlando Magic as their two best players, franchise stars, combined for 68 points in a loss to the Atlanta Hawks. They are now down to the ninth seed in the Eastern Conference, 4.5 games ahead of the 76ers, but in play-in territory and play-in purgatory. We're going to be talking about tonight's game, what is going on with Jalen Suggs, and anything else Magic related. Guys, welcome into Magic Digest, the one-stop shop for Orlando Magic basketball news. I'm your host, Patrick Previty. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It is the easiest and best way to support us here on Magic Digest. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. The goal was to get there by the end of the month. I'm still going to keep that hope alive. We're about, 180 away-ish or so. So hopefully we can still hit that. But if not, we'll keep moving the goalpost because that's the, next available goal, right? 1,000 subs. That'd be pretty awesome. Okay, let's get into what exactly happened tonight. Well, these two guys over here, Franz and Paolo Banchero, carried the offense. And we've had a lot of talk, mainly on Twitter or X, if you want to call it that, or, any of the socials about whose team it is. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I still think I lean towards Paolo Banchero, but I don't care. It's both these guys. They're both clutch guys. At the very end of the game, I don't care who's taking the shot. Whoever's the hot hand is going to get that ball. Right now, in this offense, they're both, it would say it's Franz, but they have their nights, right? But such a good problem to have, but they both carried this offense. I cannot stress this enough, the entire night. It was either one or the other, and then at the very end, when neither of them were able to really, really step up, that was where, unfortunately, the Hawks were able to take it home. But these guys had a virtuoso performance against the Atlanta Hawks. This loss is not on them, not on either of those guys. They took a ton of shots tonight. I will say they both got their shots up. 22 points for Banchero, 22 field goal attempts for Banchero, 29 field goal attempts for Wagner. But hey, that's the name of the game. Who else would you rather shoot in it? I'm gonna put up the Paolo Banchero stats for the year. But taking a look at the rest of the box score, you got Jonathan Isaac with 6 points, Tristan Da Silva with 9 points, Anthony Black with 6 points, Gary Harris with a cardio night, and Bataze, really unusual night for him. He obviously got teed up as well, as if you guys were watching the game. The team shot well from the 3-point range. They were 12 of 30 from 3 for the night, so that was good enough for them to win. They just weren't able to do it. This team looked like they were about to take advantage of the Hawks, and just go right past them by the end of the second quarter, take that momentum in the second half, but they lost that third quarter by 8 points, lost the fourth quarter by 5 points, and just overall weren't able to take advantage of the hot hand and the amazing quarter that Paolo Banchero even had in the third. So just super unfortunate to see. There was plenty of reasons why this team should have won tonight and just unfortunately could not pull this out. 54-25 bench points, 17 turnovers, probably the main reason why. This bench scoring was really, really non-existent tonight, and that was probably the worst part of this. Da Silva was fine. J.I. was fine. Not like they were on Saturday. Anthony Black specifically, he wasn't bad, but just nowhere near as aggressive or decisive as he was on Saturday. We saw kind of a complete team win on Saturday and just didn't really get that, especially from the bench. Cole Anthony did not play a ton in this game, mainly just the turnovers. I think Jamahl Mosley was extremely frustrated with him on that end. There was a point in the game where I believe they had 5 turnovers in maybe the third or something it was, and Cole Anthony got benched because he had 4 of them. So him and Bataze didn't play a ton. Obviously, I mentioned Bataze got teed up earlier. I mean, Scott Foster, say whatever you want about the refs. They didn't lose. They didn't really impact this game enough for anybody to blame either side. But yeah, Bataze and Cole Anthony didn't play a ton. Now let's get to KCP, because I've been a little all over the place with this game recap, but you get the point, right? Those two main guys played really well, and the bench guys that we're normally used to providing, one of them's going to provide something and step in for Suggs and Mo Wagner not being in. Well, they didn't do it, but KCP is mainly the big talk of the town right now. Another poor game from him. And it does look like maybe there's no rhyme or reason to him being out there late in the game. So I think Jamahl Mosley in the coming weeks is going to definitely make a change to not have him out there very late. He played 35 minutes, 1 of 4 from 3, 1 of 4 from the field, 1 of 3 from the 3, and had 6 total points for the game. His defense was kind of something that we have said is really, really good this year, and that's why we brought him in as well, as on top of the three-point shooting. But nothing's really going well for him. So I could definitely see like Tristan Da Silva in at the late game scenarios instead of KCP. Da Silva had 16 minutes today. Maybe that could change. Also, Wendell Carter Jr. was just meh. This is whatever. We had nothing from the bench today. Also, wanted to shout out the Hawks because they traded practically their entire team, or about half their team, and still kind of in a makeshift win, were able to look like they had team chemistry. They had a ton of guys play pretty decent, a ton of guys in double figures, and it wasn't like a Trae Young show or we got beat by one specific player. All around pretty darn good. Even at points when it felt like the Magic were going to be able to take this home, the Hawks stayed in it, and they were really, really good. So shout out them. So I also wanted to touch on some other news for the Orlando Magic, and that was Jalen Suggs is still out, and Jamahl Mosley had some comments on Jalen Suggs' injury prior to the game today because he was ruled as questionable, then downgraded to doubtful, then all the way to out. He did not play tonight. He said, I think it's just very important that we keep understanding that everybody's body is different, and how they respond to treatment is different. With that same thing being said, when he comes back, whatever moment that is, we're going to have him on a minutes restriction. Now, this makes sense. Obviously, I don't think anybody's expecting this team to not have Jalen Suggs on a minutes restriction when he comes back, but it's definitely clear that he really put his body on the line for the Orlando Magic during the time that Franz and Paolo were both out, and then at the time whenever they were kind of inching their way back and he tried to come back as well. It seems like he was just not ready, and he just ended up adding to the pile of injuries, the bumps and bruises, and I don't think we're going to see him back before the All-Star break. I think this team needs an All-Star break right now. I don't think we're going to be able to build enough momentum prior to that week to really make a difference in this season, unfortunately, because if you got these two guys, wheeling and dealing and you still can't get a win against a Hawks team that's right around that play-in, we're in trouble. We need a reset. But maybe this team does win with Jalen Suggs and Mo Wagner. And I think the Mo Wagner part of the conversation is a little bit, of a non-factor because he's not going to be in at all this season. But Jalen Suggs, if he was in, I do think this team does pull it out. But he wasn't in. And is he going to be healthy for the playoffs? I mean, probably will be healthy based off of the injury that he has right now, but he could have some sort of re-injury. Knock on wood, just saying. But who knows if this team's going to even be fully healthy by the playoffs. Because we're waiting for that moment, and sometimes it doesn't end up coming to fruition. And that could be Jalen Suggs or anybody else. But I'm just saying, I digress. Maybe we win this game if he's in. But regardless, he wasn't. But yeah, like I said, shout out to the Hawks. They played really well. Ninth seed, as I mentioned at the very beginning, 4.5 games ahead of the 76ers. So not in that, for dropping out of the play-in territory, but definitely in that, lottery territory right now because that's where we are. I mean, this team has just fallen way out from grace, but they have Wednesday against the Hornets to get back on track. And if you lose to the Hornets, my God, we're going to have to sound the alarms. But I'm not going to sound the alarms after every single loss. So, we just had a win last Saturday, a loss today, but the two guys played well. There's some good positive factors here, but just heartbreaking because you just feel like you could get a 3-game winning streak going because you just barely lost this one, had the one previously. Now you got the Hornets. Gotta win against the Hornets. Also, in case you missed it, just wanted to end this video off on some other news. 3 Osceola Magic players are set to compete in the 2025 FIBA AmeriCup qualifiers. Two-way guard Ethan Thompson, Javonte Smart, and Alex Morales are playing. Fans can watch the 2025 FIBA AmeriCup qualifying on courtside 1891. So there you have it, some extra Magic basketball-ish if you do choose to do it. But certainly something interesting, something to get the mind off of it. Oh, I also wanted to thank everybody, if you're still here by the end of this video, my rambling on about the Orlando Magic. Wanted to leave you guys with a stat. Why this isn't so overreactive when we say this three-point shooting, we felt like we should have made a trade, all of this. The Orlando Magic currently have the worst three-point percentage in a season since the 2011-2012 Charlotte Bobcats, which, since I've started watching basketball, is widely considered as one of the worst teams ever, except for those, trust the process Sixers. They were pretty bad too. So that's one. And of any team since 2016 to 2017, this season's Orlando Magic ranked dead last in three-point percentage, open three-point percentage, and tight three-point percentage. This team does not just have a shooting problem. They have a historically bad shooting problem, and that will be the Achilles heel of this team, and based off of how far we go, will be directly correlated to how well this team can shoot in the playoffs, and it doesn't look good right now. But the rest of this team is just fine. So do with that information what you will. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure that you guys subscribe. We're going to keep on pushing. Play that song eventually. Hopefully it plays on Wednesday. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.